Hello, welcome to i-nastava. This is an English lesson for the 4th grade of high school. My name is Livija Pribanić, and I will be your teacher in the lesson on taking positions. Today, you are going to distinguish a fact from an opinion. You will also evaluate a written text, and your final task is going to be writing a persuasive essay. Please prepare your notebook and something to write with. Whenever you see the pause button in the video lesson, is the time for you to stop the lesson and do the task. Regardless of the pause button, you can pause the video lesson at any point you want. Are you ready to start? Here we go. There are 3 statements written on this slide. The author of these statements could be a music critic, right? But what do these statements got in common? It's the topic, right? The music. But are there any differences? Read through the statements carefully. The first statement says that music is art. We can easily check the validity of this statement, right? So the first statement is a fact. Magical art, however, cannot be verified, and it is a matter of personal taste and preferences. This makes it an opinion. Same goes for the third one. It was proven once again during their magnificent performance last night. So based on the 3 statements on the previous slide, how do we decide? How do we make the difference between an opinion and a fact? Pause the lesson now and write your thoughts and ideas in your notebook. What is a fact? What is an opinion? And what are the differences between them? Here are some more additional ideas. Now, read the speech bubbles provided here, read them carefully, and decide which bubble refers to a fact and which bubble refers to an opinion. Now, pause the lesson and decide. Let's check the answers together. So a fact is unbiased. It is, or it can be, supported by evidence. And it is a statement that can be proven true or false. Opinion, on the other hand, is an expression of a person's feeling. It is aimed at persuading a reader or a listener, and it may differ according to different people. Now, pause the lesson again and copy the bubbles into your notebook. Facts and opinions are very often woven together in speech or in a written text, and very often we can just rely on the language used to decide if a statement is a fact or an opinion. For example, in a sentence, Mr. Jones claimed that we are introducing his opinion. Another signal option is to use the word suspect, argue, or view. In this example here, experts have recently discovered the signal word is discovered, which introduces a fact. We can also use verbs like demonstrate, confer, or the expression according to. So far, we have provided a clarification of facts and opinions. We have also mentioned signal words which will introduce fact or an opinion in the text or a speech that follows. So let us now check your understanding. Here is the link to a quiz. You can find the link underneath the lesson as well, or you can scan the QR code. There are several statements, and you will be asked to decide if the statement is a fact or an opinion. Pause the lesson now and do the quiz. Good luck! By now, you must be an expert in distinguishing a fact from an opinion. So it's time for a bit of a challenge. Your next task is a reading task. You are going to read an editorial. The main purpose of an editorial is to persuade the reader. In this task, you will read one of the editorials you get to choose from, and these are the steps I would like you to follow. First, you will choose a topic you can relate to. Once you open the links, which will soon be provided, you choose the topic. It can be any of the editorials. Don't mind the date. In your next step, you will examine the headline. There might also be subheadline, maybe even a related cartoon. Based on these pieces of information, what do you think the editorial will be about? What guesses or assumptions can you make about the writer's perspective at this point? So first, choose a topic, examine the headline, answer some of these questions, make short notes in your notebook. Then move on to step 3. Read the first 2 or 3 paragraphs very carefully. What issue is the writer discussing, and what is his or her stance on this issue? Now stop and think. By now, you have determined the writer's stance on the issue. So stop reading for a moment or two. What do you think is the other side of the issue? Who might think differently? What are 1 of 2 reasons that you know that might support a side opposite the writer's and his stance? So at this point, stop reading and add notes on the opposite stance related to the topic. So these are the first steps. So you got the first 5 steps. Now it's time to choose your editorial. These links take you to 2 very well-known newspapers. You can browse through both and then choose the one you prefer. And then don't forget, choose the editorial, any topic you can relate to. Then you start reading and following the steps from step number 2 to step number 5. So pause the lesson now and choose your editorial. Okay, now that you have your first 5 steps covered, let's move on. In step number 6, you will again rethink and reflect. Did the writer persuade you? Did the writer address or refute the main objections of the opposition? Give an example, please. What did he or she not address? Why might the writer have chosen not to address these issues too? Do you feel that the writer was fair to the other side? Why or why not? After you finish rethinking and reflecting, organize your notes. Organize them in such a way that you can prepare a short speech on the editorial. It will be your reflection on what you have just read. Once your notes are ready and well organized, it is time to record your reflection. Before you finalize your recording, make sure that you have mentioned the author and the source, the topic of the editorial as well, clearly explain author's stance and provide the evidence for it. And finally, add your own opinion. Now, when discussing a certain topic or point of your interest, facts and opinions may not do the trick alone. So what we need are arguments. An argument is a set of statements we make to prove a conclusion. And the final task in this lesson is writing. Before you start writing your essay, brainstorm ideas and both points of view of the topic. You can also research the topic, do some readings. Then you will choose your main arguments. And finally, you need to provide examples. Now you got the topic covered. And it's the time for you to start writing. Here are 3 topics you can choose from. Do students learn better when they do group projects? Are teens today more stressed and pressured than their parents were? Are energy drinks healthy? Okay, you got the topics, you know what to do. Step number 1, brainstorm. Each of these topics has its pros and cons. Write some arguments, provide examples, then choose your own position you would like to defend, so to say. Here is a potential example of your brainstorming. Make a mind map, do some research. Now it's time to start structuring. You will organize your arguments into paragraphs. Here is the structure of a persuasive essay. In the introduction, make sure you grab the reader's attention. Don't forget to add thesis statement. You can also add your 3 arguments, which you will further develop in the body of your essay. So your introduction in total should be 3 to 5 sentences. In each of the body paragraphs, you will explain and provide details for each of your argument. Okay, so each of the paragraphs, body paragraphs, should be, let's say, 5 to 7 sentences. Okay, so in paragraph 1, you will explain and further develop your first argument. Okay, you will also use specific examples to support argument. Once you have done that, and it's time to move to body paragraph number 2, don't forget to write a transition sentence. And then again, you write paragraph number 2 with your argument, you provide examples, and when it's time to move on to the third argument and body paragraph number 3, again, write a transition sentence. Wonderful. The last paragraph you will write is conclusion. Now, conclusion is the summary of your thoughts, but in different words. So do not copy the words and sentences from the previous paragraphs. Think of a good way, a catchy way to summarize your thoughts in about 3 to 5 sentences. And now you have finished your draft version of your persuasive essay. This is the perfect time for you to reread it and edit. Make sure your text is easy to follow. Don't forget 3 arguments mentioned in the introduction. Each argument clearly defined in each of the body paragraphs. And your conclusion is the summary of your thoughts and your opinion. Check your grammar, check your vocabulary. You can also use this rubric to assess the completion of your task. The elements that are important are the focus, organization, vocabulary and sentence structure, and grammar. I think this rubric can help you a lot. This is the end of our lesson today. I hope you have learned something new and that you have enjoyed yourself. Until the next time, bye!